Everyone, welcome to the CEOess Era Conversations, powered by the Boss Woman Network. First, I want to thank you for joining me here today and taking the time out of your Saturday. I know it is Mother's Day weekend, so we're just going to wrap this up really quickly so we can go enjoy our day and our weekend with our families. Today's discussion is centered around people pleasing, the power of saying no, saying less to cultivate true communication. Is it never too late to choose yourself? This is not a panel. This is not a webinar. And it is definitely not a presentation. This is just a curated conversation where every woman in the room contributes to the experience through honest dialogue, reflection, perspective, and shared experiences. And the goal today is simply to create a space where women can speak openly, feel seen, and have real conversations that many people avoid having publicly. We also have special guest, Dr. Michelle Fennick, joining the conversation today. I'm excited to have her here with us. She has been a regular guest, interviewed with me in person 3 times at the podcast studio, and she is here as a guest to join the conversation. So I'll go ahead and start it off and let Dr. Fennick, before we transition into Ms. Stephanie giving her introduction. Go ahead and start it off and give your introduction. I'd love for you to briefly introduce yourself, share your personal connection on today's topic.
So thank you so much, Leilani. This is such an honor to be here. I have so much respect for you and so much appreciation for you providing such a safe space and this platform for us to engage in these very meaningful conversations. So this conversation regarding people pleasing, regarding saying no, regarding just knowing that it's not too late, it just really hits close to home because I've spent the majority of my career working with individuals who have fallen prey to those things, working as a school administrator for over 20 years and then central office and now working in higher ed as a professor. That's one of the things that I have committed myself to do is to equip leaders with strategies, with techniques, so that they don't fall prey to doing too much. And so I've done a lot of research around this topic and created a lot of activities, a lot of products to help folks not fall prey to giving too much, overextending themselves, and burning that candle at both ends, which we know is not possible. So I'm really happy to be here with you today and engage in this conversation.
Happy to have you. Okay, Miss Stephanie, what do you prefer to be called? Is it Miss Stephanie or Miss McKenzie?
Whatever comes out, Stephanie's fine.
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and how this topic relates to you and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Stephanie D. McKenzie, and this topic relates to me because I have jokingly called myself one of the foremost unlicensed authorities on people pleasing. As a coach, as a fractional, as a brand strategist, the work that I do spans a lot of different business owners and a lot of different people. And one of the things that I found very early on is that people pleasing was at the time becoming a buzzword, but it really was disabling and incapacitating individuals as they were trying to do better, trying to do great things, trying to do greater things. It was pulling them back. And so I began to study and research and figure out exactly what is this people pleasing thing. And I found, origins in codependency and just all kinds of things. And that led me to make a lot of classes. I even have a life coach certification with Transformation Academy for people pleasing, because I think, like I said, as it became a buzzword, people are like, I'm not a people pleaser. You sure about that? So trying to help them understand and see it from a different lens, understand how it was affecting their lives professionally, personally, entrepreneurially. That's been a lot of the work that I've done and still a lot of the work that I do. So thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here and thank you for sharing that. So I guess to start it off on people pleasing, I'll just throw it out there. Either one of you can answer this question. Have you experienced people pleasing? And if you did, how did you transition from that and just stop people pleasing and putting yourself first?
So I'll go ahead and go. I was doing some reflection in preparation for today, and I had not remembered this experience until this very day. I was a kind of a young woman, and I was wanting to be a school principal. So when you're working to be a school principal, you go through just extensive interviews, and you're vetted by different individuals, and then you get feedback. And so I finally made it to the person that kind of makes the final decision. So he meets me and he says, my name was different at the time. Michelle Cloud. Michelle Cloud, I've heard a lot about you. And I'm thinking, whoa, it's not sounding good. He's saying, he's this conversation sounds like I'm really going to get a lot of correction. So he says, yeah, I've talked to a lot of people and they all say the same thing about you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, but what did they say? They say, you're so nice. And I was like, huh? He said, yeah, everyone else that I talk to, they say, oh, Michelle Cloud, she's so nice. She's so nice. She's so sweet. She's so nice. And I was like, okay. So what else can you tell me about you? So I started sharing about all of my experiences, how hard I work, how I go over and beyond, how I just give my all in all, how I study, how I show up, how I just give everything that I have to do a great job. He still doesn't seem moved. So I leave the interview devastated because I'm thinking, well, what else can I do? I'm standing on my head. I'm being nice to everyone. I'm not making waves. No one has a bad thing to say. When in essence, that was the correction. I was on a pathway that no one can continue. You can't please everyone. And if you're making everyone happy, you're surely doing something wrong because you're yielding, you're bending depending on the situation. And so I had to do a lot of extensive work on boundaries, on getting back to understanding who I am, even understanding what I want, what I wanted professionally, being okay with not being liked. That was a big one. Being okay with people not liking me. And I still am working through it because, here I am, I'm a mature woman now, and I spent so many years in that mode. But on this side of being able to abandon some of the people pleasing, it's been just liberating. But I had a real come to, reality experience with that because it was holding me back professionally, being a people pleaser.
Thank you for sharing that. How about you, Stephanie?
Well, my people pleasing is very, very deeply steeped in codependent patterns of behavior. And the reason why I say is because I don't believe you don't stop. It's a recovery process. I position myself as a recovering codependent, as a recovering people pleaser. And because I'm aware of that, and I'm aware that at some point in my life I had a ravenous addiction to external validation, I know that I can always relapse, which means that in this season of my life and previous seasons, I've had to be very diligent about who I deal with and how I deal with them. Um, Making sure I'm not, and it's such a fine line, right, Leilani, right, Dr. Michelle? It's such a fine line between going above and beyond, but also just wanting to be excellent for people, right? Just hey, you know what? I want to do an excellent job. I don't want to just do a mediocre job. I want to do a good job. I want to do an excellent job. And so there's such a fine line there. And a lot of times, I've just had to check my motives. Like, are you going above and beyond because you want to be liked, loved, respected, belong, compensated? What's the motive? Or is it just Stephanie's just feeling like she wants to do too much today? Okay, cool. So just understanding the origins, understanding how it's framed, and let me caveat that and say all people pleasers are codependent, all codependents are not people pleasers. But and just recognizing that the motive is what matters the most in what I do. And so when I came to that epiphany moment where I'm like, yeah, I can't care about what people think, that was good. That was like the first little toe in the water, right? But the rest of it is constantly and consistently, more so than constantly, checking in with myself when I'm doing things and making sure that the motives are pure, so that I can protect myself, but still also deliver excellence and greatness and all those things that matter to me as well.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. I will say, my experience with people pleasing started out with the Boss Woman Network, trying to bring women together, wanting to work with women, wanting to see all women win. But everybody didn't have that same vision. You know, I'm trying to bring women together and I'm going above and beyond, but I found myself being the only one going above and beyond. And for years, I was doing that, and to the point that I decided, okay, let me transition this. I stopped being about community and started being more about CEOS. And CEOS means you're a female CEO, but you put yourself first, self before anybody else. Yeah, you're a boss, but what is your mental health like? How's your spirit? How are you pouring into yourself before you pouring into anybody else? So that was why I wanted to do CEOS, because now it's about me and then helping other women, but also using this platform to allow other women to express themselves in that same way. Because we all go through that people pleasing stage and wanting to do everything for everybody else. But then there comes a time when, okay, you have to do some self-reflection and look at the person within and wondering, why are you even doing this? And how are you feeding yourself? So that is where I am today. So I wanted to share my position on this topic as well. So um, next topic, we're going to move on. I think that the power of saying no. I think saying no sounds empowering in theory, but in reality, many women still struggle with that emotionally. For you, what changed once you started saying no and becoming more intentionally? What were you afraid? What were you afraid would happen to you if you did say no? And did boundaries change in your relationships, or did saying no affect your business or your confidence? Dr. Fennick, how would you answer that?
So it was a huge, huge shift for me because I
Mhm.
was, I'm an educator. My background is education. I'm from a family of educators. And so I'm from a community that teaches people that you can do it. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. And then I'm also that cheerleader because I'm school administrator, teacher, coach of track, soccer, and basketball, athletic coach. So my whole world was helping you to see it, to make it happen, to do whatever it took to make you successful. So though even the word no, I just had a negative relationship with the word because for me, no meant no access. It meant that you weren't available. It meant that you were a failure. It meant rejection. So I had all these emotional ties to the word no in a very negative way. I didn't even want to hear no. I never wanted to hear no. I never wanted to say no. And so it cost me so much dearly. And the shift happened when I was working on my PhD initially. That was the first shift. And they had us read a book called The Virtues of Selfishness. And I'm just thinking, oh, that sounds so horrible. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian. Like selfishness. I can't be focusing all on me. But in essence, the book was saying you have to take care of yourself or you're not going to meet your goals. So I just started studying that more and more and more so I could come to terms with it because it was such a paradigm shift. I mean, it totally blew my thinking out of the water. So there's a saying, and we've all heard it, where you're on the airplane and they tell you put the oxygen mask on yourself and then render aid. And that one for me really helped me to get a breakthrough because I thought about it. My baby, me. I think I want to save my baby first. I just I don't care. But when you really think about it, if I do get me some oxygen, I can think. I have more strength. My body has all the capacity now to take care of my baby, take care of maybe our belongings, take care of somebody else. And that took some time. I also do a lot of work around time management. And a lot of individuals lose their time, lose working on their purpose, working on their goals because they're saying yes to other folks' dreams, yes to other folks' endeavors, yes to other folks' wants, and it causes them to not have space to say yes to what they need to do. And so I do a lot of work. I even do this exercise when I'm speaking to a group of ladies, and I'll say, okay, everyone, on the count of three, I want you to repeat after me, no. And so I'll say 1, 2, 3, no. And they'll go, no. You can't even hear them because so many women are so just conditioned to not even say that word. And it's such a powerful word that's a complete sentence that can change and shift an entire trajectory. So I've had a long, extensive relationship with saying no over the years. I've sometimes made it my default, so I have to kind of work on it. But I have a lot of structures in place to help me so that I can say it with confidence, so that it's believable, and so that it actually helps me.
Okay. What about you, Stephanie?
I don't mind saying no. My type of people pleasing is something we've identified as, I think it's hyper transactional. And so it doesn't show up that much except in relationship. So when you ask me about saying no in relationship, and usually romantic relationships at that, there was always this, is he gonna still like me? Does he still want me? Will we still be together? Blah, 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 blah. And so at the end of the day, um, I just I had to just be like, screw it. Like this is what has to happen because it doesn't feel good. Like when you think about it, and if hindsight's 2020, when you think about all the times you said yes when you wanted to say no, the only person that suffered was you. Everybody else was going on about their day, frolicking in the sun, and you're over somewhere. If you're not physically in fetal position, balled up in a corner, your spirit and your soul and your energy is balled up in a corner, and you're crying on the inside. And then that's the worst because you feel like, well, nobody understands anyway, so I might as well just suck it up, buttercup, and make it happen. And then when you look back, you're like, wow, huh. Now I think the advanced lesson of this is not only making your no feel good, but your yes feel just as good. Because when you first start saying no, it's like, no, no. And did I mention no? And it's a new song. No, hey, no, hey. And now you're like, when you say yes, it's like, wait a minute. And I'm like, that balancing that out so that you are completely in tune with what you are doing and why you're doing it. I feel like that's the advanced lesson that doesn't get talked about a lot.
Well, I will say this. I have not mastered the no. It's only one person in my life that I can, my mom. Every time she's always calling me, asking me to do something. Just can't say no. So I don't know. I haven't figured the no out with her yet. Everybody else is no. But her, for some reason, even if I don't, my husband get on me all the time about it. But it's just, I can't say no. And it be off the wall. I mean, just off the wall, constantly wanting me to do something. But there's no no. Do you
Get
have
there.
that problem with your mom? Do you have problems
No,
with mom calling, asking for things all the time?
she does, but I manage her expectations. Like she'll call, she was just calling just a moment ago. And she'll say, hey, especially after she retired and she didn't have a secretary anymore, an assistant anymore, oh, can you do X, Y, and Z? I can. When do you need it?
Hmm.
And then I
Oh,
will weigh that against my time and I'll say, well, that may work, that may not work. And if that doesn't work, then I'll have a plan B to help her get it done. Because I'm not going to leave my mom in a lurch. But the truth of the matter is that I don't have all the time in the world. And if I can't immediately drop what I'm doing and do what she needs, then that's unfortunate for her. I love you though. Mwah. Big, big love.
Oh, well, I love it. At least you have those boundaries set. My mom does not understand boundaries with the word no yet. I'm getting there. What about you, Dr. Fennick?
My mom is in heaven, but my
Oh,
mom
I'm
was,
sorry to hear
yes,
that.
well, but my mom was so wonderful. She made it very easy
Oh,
to say, to have boundaries with. She was the first person I could practice boundaries with, and so
hmm.
she was always very respectful regarding boundaries, and just always created a nice, safe space. But I wanted to also share about the yes, because sometimes when we're saying yes, we have a relationship with that as well. And so the yeses, I now do a deep dive on what that yes is, because I have people in my life who it's helped me with the no. So that's why I want to share about the
Hmm.
yes. I have people who will text me and say, "Hey, Michelle, are you free on Friday?" I'm thinking, sure, I'm free on Friday, not knowing what the ask is. So the ask is, let's meet here. We're all going to wear sage, and we're all going to wear suede brown shoes. It's on this side of Houston. Living in Houston, and there's a valet, and we're bringing this particular gift. I'm coming up with these strange colors because that's how difficult it can be. We're bringing
Goodness.
olive colored bag. And so you asked if I was free on Friday. I said yes, not knowing that now my entire Friday was now taken, along with the monetary cost, along with additional driving cost, along with perhaps even having to invest now in new clothes. And so now that has helped a lot with what is the ask and asking those additional questions, because I didn't do that before. I was just a blanket yes, just let me just be amenable to whatever it is that you're asking. But it's really helped with the no, just kind of stopping for a moment, pausing. That pause and those questions, that has helped me personally so much with saying no and putting up those boundaries. But my mom, that sweet lady, she was so accommodating. So she made it safe. She was
Oh,
she was the model for boundaries, respecting people's boundaries.
that's sweet. Well, at least yeah, I think the mom is probably one of the hardest people to say no
Yes.
to. But outside of that, I don't have a problem with saying no to anybody else. It's just her. All right, so we'll move on to the next topic here. Let's see. Saying less to cultivate real conversations. Now, one thing I've noticed is that many women feel pressure to over-explain themselves constantly. I found myself doing that myself just to try to fit
Mhm.
in. Almost like we need permission to protect our peace or to make decisions for ourselves. What do you think women struggle with by just saying less? Like, have you learned that silence can actually be powerful, or what does confident communication look like to you, Miss Stephanie?
Um, Coptic communication. I think, no, I'm kidding. I feel like something that has to precede the ability to use less words or to not have to over explain is knowing that you're worthy and have a right to how you see it, to your perspective, how you want this to go. So, I think sometimes the conversation, I'm going to dial us back just for a minute to the no. And there's that meme that says no is a full sentence. But how many times have people said, no, well, because, I got to do it. There's no qualifier. Sometimes, and this happened to me earlier this week. Somebody said, uh, hey, you know what would be great if we did blah, 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 blah. And I said, you know what? That would be great. But, that's going to put additional work onto my schedule and I don't want it. And they were like, oh yeah, because yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And a lot of times I'll do these AITA checks with my girlfriends. Am I the a-hole? And I'll tell them what I said and what I did. And oftentimes I'm not the a-hole, but I think I might be because I was so very clear. I'm not doing that. That's not of interest. That's not okay. Um, and just from the standpoint of that's it, that's all. Like I'm not going to write a dissertation just to make it clear that that is not something I care to do. And I think as women, we get really twisted when it's something we don't want to do. See, it's one thing if we can't do it. It's another thing if we don't want to. If I can't do it, then we're like, okay, I can't do it because I got to take Tommy to basketball practice, because, Brad is out of town, yada, yada, yada. We're fine. If you just flat out don't want to, then that's a whole thing. And I think that's where the over explaining comes in. I think that's where we're like, well, yeah, because yeah. And because you don't feel like you have the right to not want to do anything, even if you can. And I think that's a challenge for many women until they come to the realization that I'm worthy of going through life the way that I want to. And if I would rather be at home on my couch watching Charmed at 3 p.m. and not taking you to the grocery store, guess what? That's my right. Love you. Mwah.
Understandable with that. And what I would like to know is like when you first meet somebody, a new female, I'm gonna
Mhm.
say females, because we
Okay.
always be doing these women conferences and events and things like that. When you're introducing, are you connecting and trying to learn who they are? Do you feel like you over explain yourself or in situations like that when you're trying to get to know or feel uncomfortable, any anxiety or things like that?
No, I don't really have any social anxiety that I'm aware. Well, I do, but not in that respect.
Hmm.
A lot of times I'm sitting back trying to discern this energy because I really need to know what you bring into my table. Because, yeah, I've had a couple of times in my life where I was mid sentence and my spirit was like, shut up.
Hmm.
To this day, I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know what precipitated that. I don't even know who that person really was. But my
Wow.
spirit very clearly was like, shut up. And I was like,
Did you
okay,
listen?
I did. I
Hmm.
did. I looked crazy for a minute because I was in mid. I was like,
Wow.
and now I'm
Hmm.
done. And I just let the conversation go on and I sipped on drinks and whatever. But that was so insane to me because I was like, I'm just meeting a person. But so I've learned to like, okay, dial it back and pay attention, discern what's going on here. Cause yeah, you never know.
E- Even if it's somebody that you really want to connect with that may let me see, may have higher credentials than you, or
Hmm. Hmm.
how do you feel when you're introducing yourself to these people? Because it may be a different type of energy versus you just meeting somebody, regular connecting with someone.
Hmm. I don't know that that really matters to me because I love for everybody to be great. So that's like my toxic trait. Like I get worried when I'm around people that are insecure or they don't have some sort of credential or accolade or something that they're really proud of that they've done in their life. They make me
Hmm.
nervous because I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh, we're gonna have a problem because you don't have any greatness, and then you're gonna get mad at my greatness, and then it's gonna be a whole thing, blah 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 blah." And that's not running around saying, "Oh, I'm so great, I'm so great." It's more so like, and you all understand this, when you operate in certain energy, you just operate in it. And next thing you know,
Yes.
somebody's pissed off because oh, the way you ate shrimp, it got on their nerves. Well, no, my energy is bothering you, it's kicking up things and I didn't mean for it to do it, but I can't control it. And so that's also how we weed people out of our lives. So like I
Oh, for
love
sure.
to meet, yeah, I love to meet people that are, doing more or better or have done it longer.
Yes.
Like that excites me. It
Yes.
doesn't intimidate me. It used to.
How did you get over that?
Um, I I quit caring. I hung
Mm.
and I'll say this: I hung around a lot of celebrities in some of the work that I did. And those conversations were so meaningful. I remember something one of them told me was, we're all the same people. I was never starstruck, mind you, but when I would get around people that were kind of like, oh, they had more money or they had more this, I would kind of be like, oh my God, oh my God. So when you hang around celebrities who are not here, they're more so like here in terms of revenue and lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. She said to me, we're all the same people. We all put on our clothes, one pants leg at a time.
Mm.
And so having somebody at her level say that to me made dealing with anybody quote unquote above, where I was so much easier, because it was like, yeah, they put on their pants too, there's nothing for me to be intimidated about here. It's all good. But it was the way that person poured into me from her level, because
Mhm.
she didn't. She's a celebrity photographer. She does this all the time. And some other people have done it as well. And so it was just a light bulb went on, and just people are people, and it's okay.
Thank you for sharing. What about you, Dr. Fennick? What is your
So
experience?
I was very, very shy growing up, almost to the point of where it was almost crippling, because I was just so insecure, so insecure. I would go
Mm.
into a space and I would talk myself out of even walking into rooms, going into events. And so I had to overcome a lot when it comes to communication. And I did not get a real breakthrough until I went into school administration. I heard a speaker and she said, two eyes, two ears, one mouth. So you should observe, listen, and speak proportionately. Well, being an introvert, being very shy, that worked for me, because I was like, oh, wow, it's good not to talk so much. And so over the years, I've really had to study how do I take being an introvert and make it a superpower, because it's how I'm built. I prefer quiet. I prefer being here with my two fur babies, gardening, walking in nature, one-on-one events. I like depth and not so much breadth. I've been to events where
Mm.
it was hiring scenario and you were judged based on if you could be, I call them butterflies, where you could fly to the roses and fly to the daisies and really work the room. And so that's not me. I found one person that seemed safe, where their energy, like Stephanie mentioned, felt good. It's like, oh, I met somebody that's kind. So you're gonna be my person. I'm just gonna talk to you all night long. And so this has been a work in progress of how do I use how Michelle is naturally built and make it work. So I have embraced being the introvert, being the listener. And there's a gentleman, is a Dr. Albert Morabian. And so he has this strategy for communication. And so it's the 7-38-55 rule. So he says 7% of what people actually hear are your actual words. 38 is the tone, and 55% is the body language. And so I do this little demonstration how a wife is asking her husband, sweetheart, do you love me? And the husband goes, I love you. Well, no, no wife wants to hear that. The words are I love you, but it's said all wrong and the body is wrong. But if the husband says, I love you, that's a whole different delivery. And so I have taken that and just run with it. So the superpower of the introvert is that we're quiet. And oftentimes in that quiet space, people feel comfortable talking. I've also worked on mastering questions, follow-up questions, just like with my questions of what are you asking me to do for real, so that I can know what I'm signing up for. And so um, I teach I have a whole little class that I do on say less, especially for school administrators, because sometimes if you're just quiet, you can de-escalate situations. There's a scripture that says a soft answer turn away wrath in high volatile situations if you go in softly. And so this again is my mode. It's my mode of communication. It works for me. The say less approach, it helps in so many instances where there's a lot of high energy, or if there's a lot of conflict. And so for school leaders, they find it helpful. But that's why I just I love the idea of silence being golden and having those one-on-ones.
Thank you for sharing. I am, again, one of those people that have experienced anxiety when meeting certain people, and I may overtalk myself. And sometimes I just need to just shut up because I am also an introvert, which makes me get uncomfortable in certain situations. And I do sometimes, I have found myself in situations, maybe over explaining myself or maybe over talking when I need to probably just shut up. But that is something that I have been learning over time. I do that now, but that was my experience. I was one of those people that would be uncomfortable in certain rooms around certain people, and I would talk a little bit too much instead of just sitting back and just listening. Knowing I'm an introvert, so I'm trying to step out of being that way and trying to show a different side, but being an introvert and trying to overtalk, it gives off the wrong energy. Like you maybe being fake. I don't know how the other person is perceiving it, but it's definitely not my authentic self because I'm talking and that's not my usual personality. My usual personality is to just sit back and chill. So I can definitely relate to both of you and what you're saying as far as your introvertness and yours as well. All right. So next and our final topic. It is not too late. I think this topic is especially important because so many women secretly feel behind in life, business, relationships, healing, all of it. But I truly believe it's never too late to shift your life in a different direction. What is something you're giving yourself permission to do that may not, or you wouldn't have allowed yourself to do years ago? Miss Stephanie.
I was waiting on Dr. Michelle.
Oh, well, if you want her to go, totally up to
I can
y'all.
go. I can. So
Okay.
I am falling in love with being over 50. I remember when I turned 50, it was this big deal. Like my husband and I, we just had just so much fun planning on being 50, planning on me being 50 because I hit 50 first. I had a t-shirt with 1972 on it. We had what we were going to do. So I was happy with my appearance at 50. I felt just really great about turning 50. So it was just a milestone. So turn 50. So then the next year, I'm like, oh wow, you don't just turn 50 and stop. You keep going. Like you gotta
You
stay,
can.
stay with this thing. And so I was like, okay, so these birthdays, they are precious on this other side. And
Mhm.
so since I have realized just how precious these days are, I want to make the most of them. So I have really become a person that embraces every situation, and I can do it so much more authentically without fear of being judged, without fear of what anyone else thinks. And it has really been it's been so freeing, so freeing. And so as far as carving out a place on social media, I now have embraced that whatever I post, because I follow a lot of different creators who talk about how to really expand your reach and really reach your audience, that your niche is whatever you're doing, whoever you are. And so now I've just really begun to embrace who Michelle really is, and just enjoy it. And it's been just a wonderful, wonderful journey on this side of 50. So that's what I'm doing right now, with the whole "it's not too late" and having fun with it. Try some things I've never tried before, YouTubes and videos and different hairstyles that, after wearing my hair a certain way for 20 plus years, well, let me part on this side. Let me change the color. Let me try some big curls this time. Let me try some lashes. And so it's just been a fun experience just to get down and drill down to who I really am and savor every single day. So that's kind of how I'm embracing the "it's not too late."
I love it. What about you, Stephanie?
Mm. I mean, I'm here for you for the 50 part. I actually started acting up at 40, so there's that. The things I've allowed myself to do really, they're not revolutionary. I'll be honest with you, but it started with, piercings and getting tattoos again, and just being very, very expressive. And I think that goes back to the not needing to people please, because being professional oftentimes is it's our swan song for our personal identity, because it is once again another way to seek external validation by way of being buttoned up and conservative so that people will like us and take us seriously. And as I often say is I am professional. I don't have to be professional. So you're gonna get these 9 piercings and these, well, 13 piercings, 9 tattoos,
What?
whatever hair color we have going on,
It's cute
blue
too.
lips, green lips,
Yes.
whatever. I don't care. Like I
I
just
love it.
really, I don't care. Like I just really don't care. And to a certain degree, I think it's a form of repulsion marketing, because if you can't handle that, you don't need to come work with us. You don't need to have me, at your event. You don't need to do any of that, because there's a very good chance I'm just going to show up as Stephanie. And I'm really proud of who Stephanie is and who she's become. And even as she has gone through a few challenges in the last year or so, some unexpected challenges from some environments I wasn't counting on that coming from, but I still applaud the way that I'm still me. I didn't cower. I didn't run away. I didn't make that my norm. I just said, you know what? I see you. I can't unsee you. I'm going to do what I need to do, and then I'm going to be out of here. And that's exactly, what occurred. But I'm really proud of who Stephanie is and who she's become and who she's becoming, and all the amazing people I've met along the way when I really decided to be her. So, like you
I
all,
love
thank
that.
you.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Well, I will say, I'll throw my 2 cents in. I am nearing the end of my 40s, going
Mhm.
into my 50s as well. And my transition of life is that I'm scared because I'm like, dang, I'm at the half a life mark now. What is next for me past 50? But you just gave me some life when you said what you said, Dr. Fennick. Like, man, it was like I don't know, you just felt even better going into your 50s. So it's like I had been a little nervous about it, but I was also nervous about when I turned 25. I was nervous when I turned 30. I was nervous when I turned 40. So I guess it's just a part of life. But my experience as of lately is just putting myself first. Stop worrying about everybody else and put myself first. And that's where I'm at today with it. CEOS. And that's what that stands for. All right, ladies. So I would like to say in final closing and reflections, thank you for being a part of this conversation. I will say that the next roundtable discussions topic is cold pitching instead of building trust first. I don't know if you've had this problem where in your DMs you keep getting people or women, probably some women that you may even want to connect with, but instead of them connecting with you, they're getting in your inbox trying to sell you a product instead of saying, hi, let's connect, or let's want to get to know you. And it almost feels like a spam call. So how do you feel about that? What is your approach? What is your advice you want to give? Join us on the next session, which is June 13th at 2 p.m. Let's talk about it. Also, not Michelle, Miss Stephanie, I saw that you said that you are in Houston. I would love to interview you in person to learn more about your business and what you do. Come to my podcast location here in Houston, and we can sit down and talk a little bit more about what you do as well.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yes, I would love to have you. I did not know you were in Houston.
I didn't know
Um,
you were in Houston.
yeah, we're all in Houston, actually. Dr. Fennick is here.
Yay!
Yes. She's actually come to the spot 3 times and interviewed. And yeah, so I would
Oh,
love
Beautiful.
love to have you. All right. And
yay!
so Also, thank you, Dr. Michelle Fennick, for joining today and blessing us with your presence. And thank you for every woman that is listening, that is in the audience, that will be viewing this podcast. Thank you, Stephanie, for contributing your voice and perspective and your honesty to the conversation. But before we leave, please, both of you give out your contact information and how people can find you.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Again, it's such a pleasure, always a pleasure. But my website is www.consultdrmichelle.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Consult Dr. Michelle, and you can find me on TikTok and X and all those others as Dr. Michelle, PhD.
All right.
Awesome. You can find me at stephaniedmckenzie.com and Stephanie D. McKenzie everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, except for X, where I am Stephanie DM because they're a hater and I can't put my full name. But anyway, thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you, ladies, for being a guest on the podcast and the roundtable. Hopefully, you'll join future roundtable discussions. And until next time, next CEOess Era Conversations. Bye. Enjoy your Mother's Day weekend if you are mothers.
Bye.
Or even if you're not mothers, enjoy it with your family.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.